Home and Away comes in at third place in my soap opera rankings for August 2022. And it's for different reasons. I feel like, unlike, Coronation Street that came in fourth this month, that it has bigger stories, I guess, that we've kind of seen play out for a couple of months now, at least one of them, and then the other one's still more fresh, but it feels like classic soap opera. And then, also if I compare Home and Away to a lot of the American soap operas, namely General Hospital and Young and the Restless, it's that they actually have some romance and sex going on, whereas General Hospital, it's like bleak on that show. Young and the Restless has nothing going on either, and yet this is supposed to be a soap opera. And Home and Away gave us a lot of different couplings, people acting human and not like a bunch of curmudgeons. So we'll get into some of these stories here. The big, I guess, dramatic story was the police sting operation on the gang. Rose was kind of being duped from Tex, who was in the gang, and she was really pushing hard for the sting operation. And so it all went down. Tane and Nikau played kind of undercover, and then Cash obviously was involved as well. But Cash ends up not only killing someone during the sting because it all went wrong, but he also gets shot himself, which of course has made Rose feel very guilty. Cash eventually recovering by the end of August. But he's been, going through it. He was getting ready to propose to Jasmine, which is something that Felicity found out towards the end of the month about her brother. A part of the story I really enjoy, though, is because we're getting to see Felicity have to be the sibling that's actually doing the right thing and having to take care of Cash, because for the past year that I've been watching this show again, it's been her who's been kind of the fuck up, and then Cash has to always help her out of situations. So it's nice to see the roles reversed here. Not that Cash fucked up. I mean, he fucked up that he got shot during a sting operation, but he didn't he's not the fuck up. But still, it's nice to see Felicity be the one having to take care of him. I don't know where they're going to go with the possible Rose and Cash romance side of things, because Rose being Jasmine's sister is kind of why they've held off on it. I still would like to see that more developed, though, because I do think they could work as a couple. Another couple working for me, which I didn't think would because I was a big fan of Theo and Chloe, is Theo and Kirby. Chloe's left the show, and Theo's in a band with Kirby. A thing that makes this work, though, and it adds angst to the story, is because they're in that band, and Lyric does not want dating within the band, and so that's made Theo and Kirby have to hide their relationship from the rest of the band, which is a way to give them, problems as a couple, but also they can't stay away from each other. It's been part of the show that I liked, is that these two can't stay away from each other because they're attracted to each other. Something Young and the Restless and General Hospital should learn. But yeah, I mean, I think these two have chemistry. I can see that they're attracted to each other, so it works for me. And they have the added problem that they have to hide it from the band. And I like the fact that, they know they have to hide it from the band, and it feels like Kirby's more of the one that wants to hide it from everyone because she doesn't want to let the band down, and Theo's pretty new to the band. But they keep sleeping together anyway. Towards the end of the month, though, Theo was starting to be unhappy that he has to keep Kirby a secret from everyone. But yeah, I'm enjoying that couple and that story. We have also some intrigue because we have a new character of Heather, who seems to have some connection to Maryland. She's been kind of stalking Maryland. By the end of the month, we didn't really get any answers, but we did get Heather and Nikau kind of meet each other. Nikau is another character trying to move on because of all the characters we lost to the the characters that left because they didn't get their COVID shots in Australia. But Heather and Nikau also having kind of a one night stand. Nikau living the single life. We'll see where this develops because of Heather's connection to Marilyn, which they're making it seem is a villainous thing, but who knows where that will actually go, if that will be a cop out and she's actually not a bad character. I kind of hope it's not a cop out. I feel like the show needs more villains right now. We've had a lot of villains on Home and Away this year kind of come and go. I don't know if Tex is completely gone yet, but yeah, I feel like the theme of the season, which is, I guess, always a theme on Home and Away, because they tell quick stories. The villains don't stick around for long these days. In the past, they did at times, but these days they don't seem to stick around too long. But I'm hoping if Heather is the villain, that we get her for a long period of time, maybe causing some trouble, because I do think that is the one thing Home and Away is really missing, is a long-term villain. Another story, although it's not been my favorite, has been Ziggy and Dean kind of having trouble as a couple, and Ziggy kind of getting close to Remy, and Dean and Mackenzie's been doing their own thing too. But I think by the end of the month that was kind of wrapped up as well, where at least Ziggy and Dean were working on their relationship. I guess the theme of the month for Home and Away has been kind of either new developing relationships or, angsty relationships where they haven't kind of been able to get together, like Rose and Cash, or just relationship problems. It's classic soap opera. But honestly, the thing that really put Home and Away above some of these soap operas that are just, they don't have couples acting like couples. Whereas Home and Away, we got a lot of sex this month, a lot of horniness this month. Young adults acting like young adults. Something just does not happen on General Hospital and Young and the Restless, which I keep saying because I want to hammer that into the ground. That is a big problem on those two shows. But Home and Away was bringing us a lot of that this month, or at least last month of August 2022. That's why it went up a spot to number 3. It hasn't quite gotten to the top tier of number 1 or number 2 yet this year. I don't think it's gone quite that high. I don't remember the early months. But towards the end of last year, I know it had some high rankings in my rankings. It's still missing stuff. It's still been going through a lot of transitions because we had so many exits on this show. But I do feel like overall it's in a strong place. It's finding characters that have chemistry despite all the exits. We're getting characters that have been around a while, getting into new relationships, and it's working, something that doesn't happen on a lot of soap operas. And it still entertains me, a big part of it being high in my rankings. So I like where Home and Away is starting to develop again. I think it has potential to go even higher in my rankings if they can continue this trend of making new characters work, which is a very hard thing to pull off on soap operas. But overall, I think it's in a good spot right now.